everybody. Welcome to the John DeVito Show. We are on here Thursday at 11:30. We're going to be interviewing our good friend Mike from Tampa Bay soon. Got a few stories to tell before that, so we'll be getting started in a couple of minutes. Hey, Eric, how you doing? Feel free to call in when you're ready. All right, everybody. See you all in a couple of minutes. All right. Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the John DeVito Show. I hope everyone is having an awesome Thursday. And I'm pretty excited for today's show. We're going to be interviewing our good friend Mike from Tampa Bay. I've gotten to know him pretty well over the last month or so since he's been coming into the show. And I know he's been in a lot of shows and doing his own shows and a bunch of different things. So I'm really excited to learn more about him. And of course, today, I'm out on my front porch and it's maybe 50 degrees out right now. I decided to broadcast outdoors. And again, he's going to be in Tampa Bay with nice warm weather, and we're going to be up here freezing our backsides off as always. So we'll have to talk to him a little bit about that once we get going with the interview. But before we get going with the interview, I want to talk about a few things first, a couple things that I have been thinking about, something I experienced yesterday. And then we're going to get to the interview with Mike in about, 5-10 minutes or so. Okay, so anyway, one of the things I want to talk about is I saw something in the news yesterday and again this morning. And this is really driving me crazy where, we've all been talking about the mask mandates where because of COVID, we have mask mandates. And I get that it's been important to try to prevent COVID. And I actually just got really bad news yesterday that I'll talk about in a second also regarding COVID in my family. That I didn't know about, and I just literally found out yesterday. But now this summer, they're saying kids can go to camps. So the kids for the last year and a half haven't been able to go to school with their friends. They haven't been playing sports. My son Ethan wasn't able to get to play 7th and 8th grade baseball, and he loves baseball, and it depresses the kids. We just found out he's going to be having a drive-through graduation for 8th grade. We're not even going to go because, quite frankly, I just think it's stupid. We could have done social distancing out in one of the fields outside. We could have come up with some type of plan to allow at least mothers and fathers to come and watch their children graduate from school. Instead, we do a drive-through where the principal hands you the diploma through a window, and I just don't understand that. So we're not even going to go to that. So we're kind of bummed that that's not happening. But regarding the kids going to camps this summer, they're saying now that children have to wear masks to camp, and they have to wear them unless they're eating or swimming. So if you're at an 8-hour camp and you're outside running around playing with your friends, they literally have to wear a mask the entire time. Now, the camp counselors do not have to wear a mask. So, again, we've got these children who have been through a lot over the last year, and I don't understand why we are continuing to force them to wear masks and continue basically to pound on children like we've been doing when really they have no chance of getting the disease. I mean, they can pass it on, but you have a lot of people out there now that are getting the vaccination. And if there are people out there that haven't gotten the vaccination, that's their choice as an adult, and they know the risk of not getting that vaccination. So I think it's time we stop punishing our children and allow kids to be kids again going forward. So I'm hoping that there's a voice of reason that comes out and speaks against the CDC and says, listen, enough's enough. Let the kids go outside this summer without their damn masks and let them do their thing. Now, here in Massachusetts, They canceled the Boston 4th of July fireworks again. They canceled the Worcester 4th of July fireworks again. And in my little small town, we have an excellent 4th of July, 3 days of festivities, including huge fireworks in this small town. They've canceled them in my town again. So it looks like my family's going to be going to New Hampshire, where New Hampshire is kind of like Florida, where they've kind of gotten rid of all the regulations. So it looks like we'll be spending the 4th of July north of the border, so we can enjoy some of those festivities. So welcome to everybody coming in. We're going to get to Mike in a second. I just wanted to talk about a couple of things first. Now, I was talking about the mask mandates and, how I don't agree with children having to wear them. Now, yesterday I went up to see my father, and my dad got to listen to Dina Joe and the Old Man yesterday. I was showing him what a podcast was in my car, so he was really very excited when he got to listen to the show, and they actually called him out and said hi to Ralph on the air. He thought that was great. So thank you for doing that on the show yesterday. But I went out to lunch with my dad yesterday. He's 80 years old. He has dementia. And we meet a group of probably 20, 25 of his friends that he all went to high school with. He played sports with them. They get together once a month. So I was able to go out to lunch with them. And the best thing about it is when I go to these lunches, I'm the youngest guy in the room. So to be 53 years old and to be the youngest guy in the room doesn't happen too much anymore. So that was pretty awesome. But one of the things I did find out was my cousin Paul, who's actually my dad's cousin. He's my second cousin, I guess. He owns a ski shop up in the area and is really a great guy. He passed away back in December. He was 70 years old due to COVID. So we had no idea. Someone let us know yesterday. And I reached out to the family, and very, very sad. He was a great guy. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to my cousin Paul Michaud and basically just say, we love you. We're going to miss you. And I'm so sorry that you passed away. Really just a great guy, very friendly guy. Everyone in town really loved him and cared about him. And it was very unfortunate to lose him. So Paul Michaud from Amesbury, Massachusetts, we lost him back in December. Didn't realize until yesterday that it actually happened. And hopefully they're going to have some type of celebration of life for him coming up over the next couple of months as things hopefully improve with COVID. Thank you. Yeah, it was very sad. It was very, very, very sad to hear that yesterday. We didn't expect that at all. And it was funny because my dad and I drove by his house on the way to the lunch. And when we drove by his house, I noticed the grass was really tall. So I said it to my father. I'm like, boy, it looks like Paul hasn't cut his grass in a while. He's like, yeah, he never cuts his grass, was my father. Then we found out, of course, later on he had passed away. So there's a good reason why the grass was high. But anyway, being there yesterday at the lunch too, and to listen to these old guys, 80, there was one guy there that was like 87 years old. He literally came in his walker. And, it's so cool to hear stories literally from like the 1950s, the 1940s from some of these guys. The guy sitting next to me had graduated high school in 1951. I mean, try to take that in, 1951. And they were all talking about how much the world has changed. And, they were all just really good guys. And it was kind of funny to hear all these old guys like insult each other. Like my father sits down and he sees his buddy, Jerry, next to him. And Jerry's a great guy. So he sits down and Jerry's wearing shorts and like this bright green shirt. And my father sits down next to him. And the first thing he says to him is, Jerry, green's definitely not your color. So Jerry responds back with, yeah, there's no color that's really my color. And they just go back and forth, just cutting each other down. And it's kind of funny seeing them all together. So anyway, it was a good day. So I got to spend the day with my dad yesterday. He got to listen to Chit Chat with the Old Man. And the funny thing was, as I mentioned, my father has dementia. I try to make fun of this a little bit. I played my podcast a little bit in the car. So the episode where I interviewed Carolyn Grimes, who was Zuzu in It's a Wonderful Life, the Christmas movie, I was playing that in the car, and he's listening to the interview. And all of a sudden my dad goes, hey, John, who's this guy on the radio? He really has a nice voice. So I literally burst out laughing. I'm like, that's me. He's like, what do you mean that's you? I'm like, he's like, is it on tape? I'm like, it is. So at that point, we both laughed a little bit. And then 5 minutes later, he asked me who it was again. But it was kind of cool that he got to listen to one of my shows a little bit, in the car yesterday. So anyway, listen, without further ado, I've been talking for about 10 minutes. And you guys all know me. I could talk for like an hour and not take a breath. So that's kind of my thing. But I am very excited today to have a very good friend of our show and a very good friend of many of the different podcasts on this platform on today. And I've been learning more and more about him. And hey, would gladly have you on, Jimmy. Just send me an email and we'll set you up and interview you sometime as well, man. So we'd love to have you. So anyway, so we've got Mike from Tampa Bay. in the studio right now. We're going to learn a little bit more about him, the person. And again, like I said, he's living kind of in my dream area down in Florida. That's where I want to be. But Mike, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing great. Listen to that voice, that deep radio voice, man. You got it. You got it going on, brother. So
I've always wanted to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen. Now I'm sitting on my front porch in my shorts and my slides. It's 50 degrees and I'm freezing my backside off. So what's the temperature in your area right now?
Oh man. All right. Well, 87 right now.
Oh, you're killing me. You're killing me.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was a steamy 80 this morning. So.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I really like warm weather. And I would say for me, the sweet spot in weather is anywhere between 80 and 90. Once you get over 90, I don't really love it. But anywhere in the 80s, to me, that's just absolutely perfect. And I can even handle low 90s. But once you get 95 and above, then it's kind of uncomfortable. But I love warm weather. So you're so lucky to live in such a beautiful place. But listen, so I wanted to get started by just, asking you kind of a general question up front. I mean, I'd like to hear just a little bit about yourself. If you could tell us a little bit about yourself, give us kind of some background on who you are as a person, and then I'm going to ask some follow-up questions. So tell us a little bit about Mike. What's going on?
Yeah, sure. I was born and raised here in St. Petersburg, Florida. Lived here all my life. My mom and dad were both born here, and my grandma was born here too. So I've been, pretty much rooted here in the Tampa Bay area for, since I was born. So, and I had a pretty decent upbringing. My dad was a tugboat captain for the Tampa Bay Pilots Association for 26 years. And I got to experience ocean life and get to go on the tugboat. And he was really the first one on scene for the Skyway disaster. So he had some great stories about that. He was a great father. I have a great mother. I have two older brothers. One's currently residing somewhere behind bars and where is it? Maryland. And my other brother lives with my mother. And I got a 5-year-old daughter, beautiful, ex-wife. I am very active in my church. And I don't know what else to say on that one. It's pretty broad.
Well, I got to make a little comment just to make you laugh a little bit. You were saying your father's a tugboat captain. Now, I started boating probably, 7 or 8 years ago. And I am literally one of the worst dockers on the face of the earth. I can't do it. So I think I would need your father to come up and maybe give me a lesson because I'm embarrassing when I dock. I'm terrible.
Well,
I hit a plane last summer, believe it or not. And I did not misspeak.
Yeah.
I hit a plane up on a lake in Maine as I was trying to dock. I hit the wing of a plane, parked right near the boat area. So that was kind of embarrassing, but kind of funny.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, I mean, the old man's actually upstairs now. I mean, but he's still with me in spirit. So it was about 4 years ago he passed. Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. I still have my father. I lost my mother about 13 years ago, and that's very difficult to lose a parent. It's really tough.
It is. I mean, he was dying on us for about 10 years. He had stage 4 cirrhosis of the liver. He showed no physical parts of the cirrhosis, which was kind of odd, the doctors told us, but he lived way past when he was supposed to, and I'm very grateful for that. So.
Yeah, I had the same type of situation. My mother had muscular dystrophy, and she had that for a number of years, and she really outlived what she should have probably by a good 10 years. But it was really a struggle for her. It was very hard to watch, as a son, watch your mother struggle, and I'm sure you dealt with the same thing, watching your father struggle also. It's a hard thing to watch. It really is.
It is, especially in the pain, the pain he went through and stuff. But he had a really good heart, and he was a fighter. He did drink at certain points, and I was in my mid-20s. We all drink in our 20s, and
of course, I did.
That's all I did on the weekend. I went to the clubs, drank, and I made a promise to him: if I quit drinking, will you? And that's ever since then. I haven't had a beer since then, and it made him live 3 years longer. So which is great.
Nice. Yeah, I did the same thing throughout my 20s. I did a lot of drinking, did a lot of other things I shouldn't have done. And it took me a while to kind of get my act together. But, now I'm a person that, honestly, you could probably count on one hand the number of drinks I have in a year, if I have any. I mean, I can't remember right now the last time I've even had a drink. And, I'm not an alcoholic. It's no reason. I just choose not to drink because I like my life better when I'm not drinking. I don't like waking up with a hangover. I don't like being out till 2 o'clock in the morning. I like having kind of a healthy lifestyle and a clear mind. So for me, when I stopped drinking, it was really one of the best things I've ever done. It's really enhanced my life a lot. I don't know if you feel that way, but that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, I like to work out. I like to lift weights. I like to keep healthy. But the drinking, I don't know. For me, it was like, all right, I'm partying all the time
Right.
with my friends. And then I had to think to myself, what am I celebrating every weekend? Why am I spending all my money on this alcohol? And what is this for? I mean, I'm not going anywhere in this kind of lifestyle, party lifestyle. So I really kind of put that into it along with, to help my dad as well, because his health was getting worse with his alcohol, and he stopped right away. And it was just, it was well worth it. And yeah, I feel much better. I don't need a drink to go have fun. Like I, experimented this past St. Patrick's Day. I went downtown to go listen to some music and write. And I just run into this guy, and he was from out of town, and him and his girl, and I kind of showed him around, and they tried to offer me a beer, and I said, no, I'm not a drink anymore. So it's kind of nice to say that,
It is. For me though, I find it to be really hard. Like the town, and when I say hard, I don't mean hard for me, but in the town that I live in and a lot of the towns around us, a lot of the people that we know, they socialize by getting together on weekends, having house parties and drinking. And when you don't drink, it kind of, excludes you from a lot of the get-together.
Yes.
You just don't drink, right? I mean, it's a weird thing. And I don't know. I mean, but it seems like more people drink than don't today. And I was like you in my 20s, man. I drank my way through my 20s. It was a long blur. I literally started to get my act together right around 30. That's when I met my wife. And thank God I met a good woman. But by that time, though, it's funny. I always say I was lucky that I met a good woman. But I think as I approached 30, I was finally getting to the point in my life mentally where I was ready to change the way I was living. And I was ready to kind of lead a different life. And then I met her right at the right time when I was kind of ready to make that transition, into a better life for myself, and it all kind of fell into place, and, I did the same thing. I drank, I smoked a lot of pot in my 20s, went around with different women, did a lot of different things. And really, I did find that a lot of that stuff kind of made me feel empty. I don't know if you felt that way when you were doing that, but it didn't fulfill me as a person,
Yeah, it never really filled that spot that I always wondered what it was. Like I'm like partying, having fun, like all these things. I'm trying to fill a void of some kind. I come to find there's this large void that was in my heart a long time ago, and I never knew really what it was. Never kind of cared, or like when I got to my 30s, gravity started setting in on what am I doing with my life. So
that gets worse.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, yeah, it's just trying to fill a bottomless pit of just, there's this void there. And I, found it in Christ, to be honest. I found it through God, and just truly getting to understand and developing a relationship. It's, Christianity is not a religion. It's spiritual, it's an individual relationship ultimately, but
hey, Lady B.
yeah, that's what fills me.
I'm glad you brought that up, because actually, I know sometimes when people hear, oh God, we're going down the Christ road, we're going down the religion road, people are like, oh no, time to flee. It's not time to flee, because I'm very much like you in a lot of ways, where I experienced something when I was younger. I was a Catholic. I went to a Catholic high school. I saw a kid get molested right in front of me, and I saw what happened in the Catholic Church. So I kind of turned away from the Catholic Church. And I guess you could say right now I'm a man without like really an organized religion, but I am a person that's a very spiritual person. I believe fully in God. I have a one-on-one relationship with my Creator, and I completely believe that there is a higher power that is looking out for us. And if we really, if we really speak to that person, and we pledge, our loyalty and ask for their guidance, you get it, and you get help in your life to help lead you down a better path. Now, did I see somewhere where you're actually a minister? Did I see that correctly?
I am studying to be, yes, not to like take over a church, but I teach Sunday schools.
Nice.
Not plural, but I teach a Sunday school class. I'm active in my church. I had to go up and face my biggest fear 6 months ago and talk in front of 200 plus people. And it went just fine, because I just let go of that lie that I said that I can't do this. And I said that I can do this. I am strong enough through Christ. I can do anything if I just put my heart in it. And, that's, see, what the word religion does, it's pretty, people can put things in a box. They
Right.
can define something, draw its lines. This is that, because it helps us understand, or it helped me try to understand certain things that were so complex. So if you put Christianity in the box of religion, then it takes away the individual aspect of your relationship with God. And people can try to define that, and nobody can really define your relationship with the Creator. And I respect all religious views, all beliefs, because we all, have to understand for ourselves. It's not real unless it's real to us. So we can't, people always try to force a religious belief on somebody. And I think that's wrong. A lot of people in my church, the whole church does, is just love people, loving people, and cultivating, which is a really good word. I know my good friend Torch uses.
What's funny? What's funny? I think some of you that are on my Instagram, you saw that I recently bought a chicken coop. All right, now you're wondering why I'm going in that direction. I know it's a weird direction, but stick with me. So I found these chicken coops that are manufactured up in New Hampshire, and it's an organization called Coops for a Cause. So they donate money to a lot of different groups from the proceeds they make from these chicken coops. And the guy came and delivered. Great guy, delivered a beautiful chicken coop to our house. I mean, it's gorgeous. And he sent me yesterday, about a week after he delivered, a follow-up email, and he sent me links of all the different charities that he donated money to. And then in the bottom, see if I still have the email. He sent me a link to a video that told me he watched this video years ago, and it literally changed his life. So I actually watched the video, and it was really kind of a very spiritual video about this gentleman talking about his spiritual journey and all that type of thing. I just found the email, so let me scroll down here. It's a YouTube video. I'm clicking on it. It might actually pop up on my thing now. Stop and Think was the name of the organization. So I guess if you look at stopandthink.com, you may have heard that before. It was this Asian gentleman. Yeah, it was like this Asian gentleman who had a surfboard.
California.
He was walking along the beach,
Yep.
just talking about his spiritual journey, and he sent this link to me. So I watched it. It was 15 minutes long. It was excellent. And it actually
Chan.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Chan.
exactly what it was.
Yeah.
It was awesome. So I watched that, and that's actually going to influence the podcast that I do tomorrow, talking about why are we here. But I thought it was very cool that this guy reached out to me after the fact and very gently sent this thing along. And I wrote him back today, and I just said, hey, I love the video. I did watch it. Thank you for sending that along to me. And it's nice how often you do run into people who are spiritual people. Like this guy has got this gift of building chicken coops, and he's using it to give back and to make money. Like some of the money was donated to people who are starving in Africa. Other was donated to a cause for people that are caught at sex trafficking. So he's doing really a very good thing with his ability to make chicken coops, which was kind of cool. And you don't expect to run into that in something that way, but it was just kind of neat to experience that whole thing. So now tell me, you said you're studying to be a minister. Now, what do you want to do with that once you achieve getting, I guess, that degree? So you said you don't want to be the minister of a church. I mean, do you think that might change? Do you think you would actually step up and be a minister, or?
See, I don't know. For my pastor kind of explained to me, everyone's called technically to minister, but I'm not going for with a goal in mind to head a church or to to lead a service. But if I am called to, like if my heart is drawn by God to do something, or I can wrestle with it, find out what it is. But my draw is to reach out to those that are depressed, mental health issues, anything that is ailing them, to help kind of guide them, not to be a preachy kind of, God said this and give them Bible verses all the time, but just get earthly with them, just talk to them, and hear and listen. I used to have a hard time listening, like truly hearing somebody talk. And there's this great word I love to use. It's called discernment. I love to discern the hearts of people. And you everyone has that gift. So you can maybe feel what someone's going through. And I just really tuned into that, and just I want to teach a class, which I have one that's still on standby. It's called 20s and 30s Men's Group, where we get people coming in. We'll play some games, and we'll just kind of hang out, eat food, and just talk. And just where it's not all this pressure on you to kind of talk about your issues. It's just a good environment. I a camp that we'll go to up in, I think it's Brooksville, here in Florida. So it's just, that's going to be getting off the ground here in a couple months. So, but I'm studying for really is to get to know my God more, to get to know him more is really why I'm studying. Ultimately, it's not for, a diploma or something like that.
Right now, you see Torch's comment down there. Mike, you've already begun your ministry, especially on my podcast, my friend. So I love that. And Torch,
I agree.
Yeah. Torch, I've gotten your invites also. I don't have AirPods. I just bought a new pair that are coming in from Amazon. So when I get those, I'll call into your show. My AirPods broken. I never bought a new pair. So I'll be able to call in soon at some point. But, I'm glad
Thank you, Torch. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the topic of mental health, because as you know, I've been talking about that on my show quite a bit lately. Now, if someone out here, whether it's in the live or whether it's someone that downloads this podcast after the fact and listens, what advice could you give to someone that's struggling maybe with anxiety, with depression, with mental health? I mean, what can you tell them to maybe help them feel better so they can hopefully start on the right path to help themselves?
That I have been in that dark world of depression and mental health issues. It is a very dark place, and that you're not alone. And it will get better. It will. Surround yourself with good people, and also try to be careful what you feed yourself mentally, what you listen to, what you read, and who you talk to. I mean, if you associate around people that are negative all the time, try to distance yourself to a point where you could around more positive people, and that you're not alone at all. I struggled with it, and it's a very dark place. You put up walls so high that nobody knows what's going inside the heart, and I was very stubborn. I didn't let people know what was going on inside of me, and I finally was able to reach out, and it was such a relief. That fear of just talking about it with someone I trusted, it was worth the risk, because it saved my life. And I was really into drugs. It's a dark place. I know what it's like. But when I hear a voice in that darkness, it calls out to me, I know I'm not alone. And I just want people to know you're not alone. People do care.
I think that's what happens too. It's strange how it happens too. I think sometimes these things come out of nowhere also, where you're not really expecting it, and sometimes you think that you'll never be in that place, and the next thing you know, things happen in your life and you're in that place and you're not prepared to be in that place. And I've been there also, where I had a hard time getting myself out of bed for a couple of months, and I was very depressed. My wife was worried about me, and it's hard when you're down in those depths and you don't have anyone to help you, and you don't feel like there's any way things will get better. It can be hard. It can be dark. And I know a lot of people end up there. I saw today on the Boston News, there was a young 16-year-old African-American girl that was found dead about a month ago. And, when they saw that initially, a lot of the groups came out saying they thought maybe it was a hate. But then the police investigated. They believed that she committed suicide. So, 15, 16-year-old kids, they're up against so much today, and so many of them with the pandemic, bullying on social media, so many things that are going on right now. It is so hard for young people to remain positive. And, if you look at like religion and God, that's been taken out of the schools completely. So it's not there anymore. And, it's so hard, I think, for kids today to find help when they need it. So, I mean, I guess if you're speaking to like a young person that has no place to go, I saw that Torch put a nice blurb in the chat about, being able to call someplace to actually talk. But I mean, if you had to advise a young person as to what they could do if they were being bullied, if they were depressed, if they felt like there was no one they could talk to, who should they go to?
Go to somebody you trust. If you have no one you can speak to, if there's nobody that you trust, if there's a church that you can go to, or a like that phone number Torch gave out, call that number if you're thinking of suicide or depressed. They have good resources also. It doesn't have to be faith-based. A lot of people, but for me, I reached out to God. I asked him, if you're there, I need you. I'm desperate. I feel all alone. I was in a dark place, and I was at rock bottom. And I just, in my heart, he just made himself known, I guess. The next day, someone came up to me and said something that I was just praying about. And it was just, I was in awe. I just reached out to God when I had nobody. I was homeless, and I just got over my feelings, my uh, I was feeling sorry for myself, and I just needed to get over that, see past my feelings, and do what I need to do, and keep pushing, keep fighting, and never give up. Because I'm a fighter, and I don't give up.
I want to ask you a little bit more about you being homeless and whatnot. But I'm going to read. I scrolled back up. I want to read what Torch wrote. So if you're listening to this on download and you are struggling, if you do not feel like there's anyone to help you, one thing I've said in the past is you can reach out to me. Look at the John DeVito Show. You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram. You can email me. You can find me here on Podbean. Send me an email. Send me a message. I will give you my phone number and we can talk. Because if you're struggling and you need someone to talk to, I will be that person that you can talk to help hopefully maybe answer some questions or maybe even just listen to you. But Torch put up a great resource. I'm going to read this for everybody so it'll be out there in the recording. If you are thinking about harming yourself or attempting suicide, tell someone who can help right away. Call your doctor's office, call 911 for emergency services, go to the nearest hospital emergency room, call the toll-free 24-hour hotline of the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK, T-A-L-K. So that's 1-800-273-TALK or 1-800-873-8255 to be connected with a trained counselor at a suicide crisis center nearest you. Ask a family member or friend to help you make these calls or take you to the hospital if you need help. Because trust me, if you're out there and you're feeling like you're suicidal, if you're feeling like things aren't going to get better, there are people in this world that care about you. I'm being one of them. I'm sure you have family members that care about you, people that are in this show. You've got Mike here. There are people that care. Do not end your life. Your life can improve. It can get better. Everyone needs help at some point. So reach out to someone and get that help and try to get past these tough times because you're not alone. A lot of people have been through it, and a lot of people have come out the other side and been able to get past it. So you can do it too, but you need help. So reach out and get that help. Now, Mike, you were talking about, alcohol, drugs, and you were homeless. Now, how did that happen? How did you become homeless, and what was that like?
It was an accumulation. It was like a snowball. It'll slowly grows until it's just so massive. It's like an unstoppable force. It started. Well, I guess it really kind of started. I had a certain kind of atmosphere that was around my life with my dad, and not to go into detail about that, but I kind of was around certain things that kind of maybe influenced me, but that didn't really hit me until I was in my 20s, and I had a breakup with a girl going on for 2 years, and that started me drinking and smoking, and then it got into harder drugs, and then I was like hide behind like a fake facade for a while and not tell anybody I had issues. But I went to jail a few times. I would take Xanax and drink on it, and I rented a bike from the pier from downtown St. Pete, a 4-seater bike, the one that has
yeah, I know those.
a little shade thing. I rented that with my license and drove it all the way and rode the bike all the way from the pier to my house in the middle of like Pinellas County. It's like a 10-mile ride. And I don't even know how I got there. And it's like, I woke up in the morning and I go, what is this? Oh man, I did not just do that. And from there, the police got to know my last name really well. So they, but it was just reckless, Yeah.
No, those things happen. I mean, we all make bad decisions, brother. In my 20s, I am lucky that I did not hurt anybody driving drunk. I can't tell you how many times I drove drunk. I can't tell you how many bad decisions I made doing that. And I was very, very, very fortunate that I did not hurt somebody, hurt myself, hurt, anyone. And you're right, man. I mean, when you're going through that, it's such a lonely feeling. And I would never, 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 never want to go back to living the life that I used to live. So I'm really happy that you've been able to turn your life into such a positive, because as we all know, I mean, there's a lot of people in here that have done the same thing, and it's not an easy thing to do. And I guess if all of us can kind of band together and help other people, maybe,
Yes.
turn their lives around if they're struggling, because everyone needs help. You can't do it by yourself. It's too damn hard to do it alone.
Sharing our story is huge. Sharing our story, what we've gone through, people can relate to our stories. So if they can relate, then that type of relationship can develop. They can say, hey, he went through it too. And he knows this lonely, dark place that nobody can pierce through. And if you've been there and you know what it's like, you know how to be, how to talk to certain people, not to, judge them, because nobody's supposed to judge ever. Obviously, you have to look down on someone. It's not a moral failure. It's just, it's a coping mechanism, unfortunately, that people got into, it got a very unhealthy coping mechanism. And there's a healthy way to deal with the emotions inside, and just speak to someone you love, care about. I put my name and number out there, and my Twitter handle. If anyone ever needs to reach out, I'm more than happy. I get calls a lot. I had to go to people's houses for suicide things, and to talk them out of it. And it's not easy, but I do it out of love, so it is easy for me because it's out of the heart.
That is amazing. So you literally go into people's homes when they are considering suicide, and you will help talk them out of
Not
that.
forcefully.
but that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, let me ask you.
Well, it was a good friend. Yeah, go ahead.
But how do you go into that mentally? I mean, that has to be scary as hell to go into that situation.
Pray. I pray. I said, look, remove me, and you speak through me, and I can't save this person, but you can. And I just go in with discernment. I mean, it's really just interpreting somebody's heart in a sense where you can, the micro expressions, the body, your body tells people more things than we think. It's amazing what body language tells us, how someone's sitting, how their posture is, how they talk, the micro expressions with their mouth, a lot of things. And then the heart, and just, talk to them, and just ask them why they want to give up, and tell them I've been there too. That's why it's kind of, for me, I know what it's like. I have to remind them they're not alone in this struggle, and to just keep pushing, keep fighting, and just be a support system. We need a support system, the church or family or friends or counseling, but just don't ever give up, because I've been in that spot where I gave up. Nobody could say anything to me. I gave up, but I didn't. And I kept pushing. Someone got me to keep pushing. So.
Well, like I told the story. Now, I don't know if you see some of the comments, but you're getting some great comments in the chat. I mean, people are definitely screaming love you, and thank you for all those gifts. And I know those are all directed at Mike from Tampa Bay. He deserves it. Now, you are making a difference in the lives of others, man. And there's nothing better than that. And I think I talked about the other day, for whatever reason in my 20s, I got into that first depressing place in my life where I felt like my life hadn't gone in the direction it should have. And I kind of gave up for a while. But then you realize that, honestly, I look at where I am now. And, I told you I was, a very good baseball player. I kind of missed my opportunity because I was stupid and made bad decisions, and I was young. And I felt like I kind of missed my opportunity to live my dream. But now, looking at God's plan for where I am now, I mean, if I could go back right now to being 20 years old, 21 years old, and someone said to me, okay, hey, listen, you're going to have a 15-year career with the Boston Red Sox. You're going to be a superstar. All your dreams are going to come true. We're going to give that to you. However, that means you're not going to meet your wife. You're not going to have your children. You're not going to have your family. And you're not going to have all the things you have today. It wouldn't even take me 1 second to make that decision. Absolutely, I would not ever do anything to jeopardize the gifts I have in my life today with my wife and my family, because I'm so blessed and so lucky. And most likely, if I had gone that other path in my life, I wouldn't end up with all the gifts I have in my life right now. And I thank God for putting me on that path and giving me the life that I have. I mean, is it a perfect life? Of course not. But it's a life that I love and I'm happy with. And it took me a damn long time to get here. It's hard to get that. But I think you need to learn how to accept yourself, realize you're not perfect. And honestly, ask God for help. Put yourself in his hands. And I prayed last night. I pray every night before I go to bed. And I pray to God. I start by telling him I love him. I appreciate everything he's done for me. I am giving you my life to you. Please guide me on a daily basis to help me be a better person. And that's how I start every night, by praying to God and asking for his guidance. And I do feel, I don't know if you feel this way, but I do feel like I get the guidance. Do you feel that way also?
Absolutely. I have to know that I'm not perfect, like you said, and know that I can't know everything. and try to be everything to everybody. I just be myself and come as I am. And yet I'm guided daily. And in the past, it used to be a curse for me to be able to have this kind of discernment, knowing what people are thinking and then not thinking. I mean, just the heart. And, I just took advantage of that a long time ago, and it was different. But not to get into more detail of that. But yeah, I feel the guidance daily. I pray daily in the morning when I wake up. I said, thank you for this day, because I would be nothing without him. I would have been lost. I would have been dead in jail again. And I'm thankful that I chose to listen to him. I chose to believe that there's something bigger than I am. And I wanted to get to know him more, because I asked for things that only God could have done for me. And it was a direct prayer that God answered, but it took time, not my time. I want things to happen right now. No, there's a plan in place. I had to be patient. Things needed to be worked out of me, and in order for things to open up. And I just had to understand that also, to understand that I can't push God's plan. Everything happens for a reason. I hear that all the time, and it's true, but it's real to me because I've, experienced it. And
That's
a lot
true.
of people,
It's true. So let me now. You and I have talked a lot about everything that's going on in the country right now, and I think you and I agree on a lot of different things. With this whole situation we're in, with the pandemic, with COVID, with all the regulations that are happening now. I know you live in Florida, and things are drastically different in Florida than they are here in Massachusetts. Now, do you feel that the governor of Florida is doing the right things based on the precautions that the CDC is, imposing on people? Because in Massachusetts, they're still kind of sticking it to the people about all the regulations. Things aren't going to open up till the end of August. People are still wearing masks, all over the place here. A lot of them still outside. I mean, do you think the governor of Florida is doing the right thing? And do you think it's time maybe the CDC backed off some of these recommendations?
I think he's doing an amazing job. I don't know, for me, he kind of reminds me of what I would be doing, what I would say I would be doing. I mean, he's doing the thing. I think he's really speaking for the people ultimately, because here in Florida, it's such a, I mean, can't imagine what it's like up there for you guys. I mean, we have the ability, we have the choice to not wear a mask if you've had the injection, or like for me, I've already had COVID and my doctor tested me for the antibodies for viral infection of the COVID. So it's like I've already got the antibodies for it, and I've been exposed to it. I went and quarantined myself, and and I just go into places without a mask with one in my pocket, so I don't cause an issue. They tell me I need to wear it, but nobody says anything to me. I see other people not wearing a mask. I think the governor's doing a great job. He's a great leader. He's really doing a good job, and I'm sure he's got the ear of the president, or Trump. I'd imagine. I'm sure he's getting advice from him as well. But yeah, he's a great leader. Great leader.
Well, it's funny. I was talking to my kids about this morning, and one of the things I witnessed, again, in my earlier days, I didn't live through a pandemic, but when I grew up, things were different. I mean, you didn't wear a bike helmet. You ran around without your parents. You went out, you lived your life. We were free-ranging kids. We weren't wrapped in bubble wrap. We didn't get participation trophies. You had to win to get a trophy. If you did something wrong, your parents would beat your ass for doing it wrong. And it's funny how the world's changed. I mean, even the other day, one of my sons had a hard time in school, so I got a call from the school, and I had to talk. And they were telling me what was going on, and they were asking me for strategies. So yeah, I gave him some strategies, but then I said to him, I was like, well, I have a question for you. Do you guys have detentions anymore? And she goes, well, we do. I'm like, then why don't you give him a detention? If he is not doing what he's supposed to be doing, punish him. And I don't think they hear that from very many parents today. But I'm like, again, these kids have no fear of consequences anymore. And it's just kind of crazy the way the world is right now. So I don't know. I mean, the world has changed a lot. But what I'm seeing now is the protection that we've seen of children for like the last 10, 15, 20 years, where children have literally almost been wrapped in bubble wrap. Now it's almost been extended now to the entire population of the world. And for me, I understand that there's a danger of COVID, but damn it, I'm not going to live my life in fear. I want to live my life. And if unfortunately, tomorrow I get COVID, or I get hit by a car, or I, have a heart attack, I mean, It happens, and there's nothing
It's our nature.
I mean, I want to live my life.
It's our nature.
And that's what's happening right now. For the last year plus, America and the world, we haven't been living. We've been forced into isolation. And I think, tying it back to something we were talking about earlier, this is having an effect on the mental illness of the people in this country and the mental state of people, because people are struggling. They're isolated. They're afraid. And I don't know how long it's going to take for us to come back from this, but I think there are going to be ongoing effects of this COVID isolation for the next 5 or 10 years. I mean, do you think that people are going to be struggling mentally because of this for years on end, or do you think we're going to ramp up this COVID thing and people are going to snap back to normal? What do you think on that?
I honestly can I can discern that these, like you and Torch and Cummings and Slightly, I mean, you guys all are speaking out. You're being that voice that people need to hear and want to hear, and us building people up and not tearing them down. And men's role in the families have been taken away, and a lot of them are, it's dysfunctional, and and if the attacks on the men, the head of the families, and I think that's where a lot of these things come from.
Toxic masculinity, right? Toxic masculinity. That's what we hear.
And it's like, if we stop buying into this stuff and start listening to like people around you, like even your neighbors. If you haven't spoken to your neighbors in a while, or your community, it starts at home first, and then it goes out from your neighbors, your community, then the country. We have to get rooted again, back at home, keep everything rooted, and then fight for what you love. Not physical, but fight with our voices. That's why it's our First Amendment. It's our right to believe what we believe in. If I want to believe if I want to be a Muslim, I should believe in that and be allowed to talk about it. And I respect that. And I don't think it's going to take years. I think it's just going to take, hearts are going to start opening up soon, and they are opening, and people are speaking out, and they aren't afraid to wear a mask because they've already either had it. And I don't know, there's just no solid authority on this COVID thing. And that's why it's confusing, I believe. There's no central authority on it.
Hey, Torch, I'm going to go to that in a second. I like that comment about the elites are using us like pawns in a chess game. I want to talk about that. I wanted to go into that and talk to it about with Mike as well. But no, I mean, you're right. I think one of the things that I don't understand is now, I grew up in a home years ago. Now, I may be older, but my grandmother owned an armored car business, and she owned a chain of nursing homes. My mother was a nurse back in the day when a lot of women weren't working. My wife is a doctor. So I'm not afraid of, strong women. I like a strong, intelligent woman.
I love it.
Right. There's nothing wrong. It's great. I mean, I'm a strong personality. I need someone that can, not be intimidated by me. I'm a big person. I'm a strong personality. I need someone that can stick up to me. And it's a good thing, not a bad thing. But I don't understand how a lot of times it seems like the women's movement needs to destroy men in order to advance women. And that's sometimes what it looks like to me, where they're calling masculinity toxic. And again, there's a difference, in my opinion, between masculinity and abuse. I mean, abuse is toxic, and abuse needs to stop. But there's nothing wrong with a man being a man and looking to provide for his family, protect his family, and being masculine. I don't know why that's become such a negative thing in society. I know I feel it. I'm not sure if you feel that at all, but I mean, it seems like men are under attack for whatever reason.
Yeah, I agree. I had to stop for a long time ago, and stop and listen to what was being said in the media or on shows, which, aren't dictated by normal people, can be one of those echo chambers per se. And I just think that movement got hijacked, like other ones, I believe, and are being used against us. But I've spoken to other women, which, I'm single now, but it's whatever. But yeah, I've spoken to them, and they said they don't feel the same way. I mean, a lot of people are saying the same thing. They don't feel that there is this, and I think it's just something being used against us, and on the media.
Could be. I mean, maybe that goes into what Torch is talking about also. Now, I do think, as Torch mentioned a little bit earlier in the chat, divisive agendas are being carried out. And you're right, the elite are playing games against us. And I've mentioned this a million times, so I don't want to get down the path too often. But I mean, you kind of have to mention it for the new people that are in here. But honestly, I mean, Sun Tzu, The Art of War, divide and conquer. That is what our elite That is what our government, that is what they are doing to us. They have us arguing. It's black versus white, men versus woman.
Yep.
You're for abortion, you're against abortion. You're this, you're that, you're that. They are dividing. And now it's you've been vaccinated, you haven't been vaccinated. They are playing us against us all the time. And, it's sad because for me, when I look at the whole, black-white issue, I have never in my life, I'm 53 years old, I have never had a negative interaction with an African-American person in my life. If anything, I've had nothing but positive interactions with African-American people in my life. The story I've told over and over again, my son Matt, he's now 18 years old. He has autism. When he was 12, he saw Rocky and wanted to be a boxer. I found him an inner city boxing gym in the city of Worcester. The guy that took him on and trained him trains professional boxers. This trainer was in Jermaine Ortiz's corner on the Mike Tyson card that night on pay-per-view. This guy trained my son for 6 years. My son was the only little suburban white kid in this gym. And when he walked in, this little autistic white kid walked into this gym with mostly African-American men, Hispanic men. They would fist bump him. They would hug him. They would call him champ. When he got the lead in a play a couple of years ago, they showed up at this college where there was nothing but white faces, and you had these gentlemen come in from the boxing gym to show support for Matt and hug him and everything after the play. So for me, I am tired of people trying to play black and white against each other, because the more they do that, the more we're separated and the more they win. We need to learn that as a people, we need to come together, because the hell with the damn races. We are one race when it all is said and done, and that's the human race. We are one human race, and we need to stop letting these people play us against each other. And I know you feel the same way about this. And I mean, what can we do as people that can turn this thing around? Because we've got so many media outlets and social media that are playing against us, and it's so hard to convince the masses this is what's going on. But damn it, it is what's going on,
Start listening. We need to start listening to each other. White, black, there is no dividing line. That is a tool they use. It is, if I was smart and I had a large group of people that were, had all the money in the world, and I had a plan, I would carry this out to a T, like divide and conquer, use the society to, it's just, there's, I don't know where I'm going to get at with that one, but yeah, it's a plan. I'm sure it is to, get us against each other. A divided nation is a weak nation, and we need to come back together and just listen to each other, listen to the hearts of people, listen to the heart, not skin, not this. Don't believe the lies of America is all racist. All the white people are racist, this and that. It's a game
ways,
to them.
Both ways too, because you hear now, white people are racist, black people are racist. I personally don't see it. I don't see it.
Like, I don't see it either.
I don't see it. I really don't. And I mean, of course, there are certainly white racist people out there. There's no doubt about it. Just like there are going to be racist people of every color. I mean, it's a reality of life, unfortunately. But I mean, I don't think it's the majority. I really don't.
What did Torch say? Are they really? We must remove Crayola colors as ethnic labeling.
Oh my God, it's nonstop, man. Oh, it's funny. You guys heard my show the other day.
Twilight Zone.
Well, how about Snow White? The Snow White ride at Disney World. Did you hear that in my show the other day? I mean,
no.
Well, that's the newest cancel culture. There's a new Snow White ride at Disney World in Florida.
Oh God!
And because the prince kisses Snow White at the end and removes her from her spell, he wasn't able to ask her permission for the kiss. So they're considering that to be against her will, and they want Disney to cancel their ride now. Are you kidding me?
You're killing me, Smalls.
Come on.
Killing me, Smalls.
It's Snow White, come on.
Who are these people doing this? Like, I don't think it's anybody in the public. I think these elite people are saying, they're doing these things. They're saying, hey, this is wrong. Let's do it. Oh my God, that's crazy. Well, who is advocating? Who's advocating this?
It's crazy.
Seriously, who's really doing it?
Well, it's funny. Like I said on another show also, I mean, if you look at a lot of the faces that were removed from some of the products. I mean, we lost Aunt Jemima, we lost Uncle Ben. And again, when I looked at Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben, I never thought anything racist. I kind of look at them like, I look at an old wise person on the pancake box or whatever. But when you look at who was eliminated, you had a lot of blackface that were taken away from boxes. But the guy that is on the KFC box is still there. And like I've said before, the guy on the KFC box, Colonel Sanders, doesn't look like he was probably the most woke guy in the world. When I look at pictures of him, but he's still there. I mean, honestly, take a look at the guy. I don't know anything about him. He's the greatest guy on the face of the earth. But I mean, the stuff that's going on. I was listening to it yet, and to put it all in perspective, as I said yesterday, I was sitting with a bunch of 80-year-old guys yesterday at that lunch, and they were talking about the high school they went to. Was Amesbury High School in Massachusetts, the Amesbury Indians. So it's literally been now a 5-year onslaught of people coming through the school committee and trying to get the Indians' name taken off the school. And let's face it, eventually it's going to happen. It's going to be gone. They're going to win. But these guys were talking about literally, what a crazy world we live in. Why the hell are people offended by all these things? We always took it as pride, as being playing for the Amesbury Indians. And I don't think anyone ever looked at it as like a derogatory term until today, where everything is made to be derogatory. So it's just a nutty world we live in now, man. I don't know. But I guess we all need to find a way to remain positive and maybe turn down the noise a little bit, because there's so much noise today that gets in our way.
Turn it down and listen to your neighbor. Listen to your neighbors. Listen to your friends, people you meet in public, and just start up a conversation with people. And it's kind of hard lately because of the mask. It's taken a part of us away, our identity. And for me, I see it as our identity. Part of it is taken away. A mask covers your mouth. We want to see a smile or a frown. We want to know how someone's feeling, or it's the mask is more of an image to me now that I really look at it. It's very scary how fast it came on, and even with people who are immune now still wear it, and it's just I don't know. I think people are getting conditioned, and it's scary, and it's very scary.
Now, if you think that's not the case, if you're one of the people out there that goes, "Oh, that's crazy. This is about protecting people." Okay, well, if that's the case, then why have the certain parts of the Muslims been doing that for years, where they want to take away the identity of the women and they force them to wear facial coverings? It has nothing to do with the pandemic. It's about protecting and keeping away their identity, and they want the women to conform. That's exactly what we're seeing right now with these masks. And I've already told my wife, and trust me, this drives her crazy. I drive her crazy. But I've said to her, listen, I've got my first vaccination. I got my second shot coming up next week. When I get my second shot, I am done wearing a mask. I'm not going to wear one again. And that's
absolutely
not up here in Massachusetts, because I'm going to go into place and get ridiculed, and I'm going to be ready for it. But at some point, we need to make a stand, I think, at our government, and say, enough's enough. It's time to get back to life. And if we don't, we're going to be wearing masks for the next 3 years. It's not going to go away, because
together.
Yeah, together. Well, what's going to happen? COVID's going to be gone, and then it's going to be, this season's a really bad flu season. And in order to protect everybody, we need to put those masks back on. This isn't going to go away unless we make it go away.
BS. We need to assimilate. We need to, or not assimilate. We need to just unify. It starts at home. It starts at home, and then it spreads. And these podcasts you guys are doing are reaching a lot of people. And people are listening, and they're like, yeah, you're right. I mean, but not violently, fight, but to just, abstain from wearing the mask. If that's crazy, John. It really is. It's nuts.
It is. Now, most importantly, I got to ask you this question, and this is the most important question for me. Now, of course, we're pretty happy with getting Mac Jones up here in New England for the Patriots. And because we lost, of course, the GOAT to Tampa Bay. And I'll tell you, man, I was rooting 100% last year. Can that's what they call him. Can Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers repeat this year and win another one?
I believe so. Brady has great leadership skills. He's, the quarterback. He's the leader of the team ultimately, I think so. It depends on the offensive line, and, if we don't get any injuries this year.
I mean, they're a great team.
Yeah.
There's been talk up here the last couple of days. I'm not sure if it's going to happen or not, but apparently Julian Edelman has been cozying up with Tom Brady quite a bit now that he's no longer with the Patriots. So I could see Edelman maybe signing, and then you get even another weapon with that offense. And I'd be very happy to see Brady win. I know that most people in here do not feel that way. I see comments for the Bears, and I still hate the Bears because they beat the Patriots back in the '86 Super Bowl. So I still hate them. The refrigerator Perry.
Yeah.
And that whole group. I know that's probably older than most of you guys, but I'm not a big Bears fan. But anyway, the Bears upgraded as a quarterback, their quarterback, which is good because you had what's his name, Trubisky, who just didn't really pan out. I kind of liked him in the beginning, but he didn't play too well. That's right, the 85 Bears. But I don't know, man.
I don't know if you know.
Yeah, go ahead.
That I do weddings for my family-in-law's production company.
I didn't know that. Explain.
So that being said, I do videography and photography. I do like the uplights, and we do weddings on the beaches. And I heard through the grapevine, I'm not going to say where, but like a really good friend of him, Brady, they're having a wedding in about like 6 months, I believe, or less. And it's going to be down around here, but I'm not. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. I don't know who's doing it, but I just we have a lot of people who talk that are in the production business. So yeah, it's a really cool business, man. I do weddings on the beaches, and it's pretty cool, actually.
It must be pretty sweet, I would imagine. Not a bad place to do.
I've been all over the place, man. Oh, it's great. It really is. K-pop treat down here. It's amazing, dude.
So, is there anything else you want people to know about you? Again, we've been having a conversation. We've asked a lot about you, heard a little bit about your childhood, some of the things you've been through. What do you want people to know about Mike from Tampa Bay? Or Mike from Tampa?
That God is good, and I want people to know about me is that I struggled with God for a long time, and I was always spiritual. I had things happen at a young age that I could not explain that got me to seek Him out even more. But I'm a fighter, and I fight for what I love. But I also show love and kindness in the face of hate. When hate comes at me, I still show love. I won't. For me, people don't upset me. I allow that to happen. So if I can just change my thought process, in which I have, and not allow someone to affect my emotions so much, and I'm a fighter, and I fight hate with love, period. That's my mantra.
All right. Now, I don't know if this is true. Now, Victor, I mean, Torch may have been joking a little bit, but do you actually wrestle alligators? Is that true?
Not yet. I can. If you dare me, I might, but no, I do not. I am a pretty big dude. I'm 6'2", 230. I work out.
You're a big dude.
Now,
but
I'm a softie sometimes.
When we went down to Orlando years ago, we went to Gatorland. I'm sure you've been to Gatorland before. And we actually brought kids in when they were little. They were able to get on the back of a gator. They taped the mouth shut. And we get pictures of all of them holding the gators at the top of it. But it was funny. All of my kids were ready to do it, except for my oldest. He kind of like ran away. But then he literally like ran away. We had to chase him. But then we were leaving the park, and he changed his mind. He's like, I kind of want to do it. I'm like, well, dude, you missed your chance. The show's over. We can't do it now. But we actually brought him back, and he did do it. But I got to give him credit, man. There's no chance in hell I would have gotten on the back of a gator. So I give you credit if you're willing to do that, man. Those things are scary.
I mean, I'm one of those people like, come on, Mike, you can do it. Or that Mikey likes it. He'll do anything. Or commercial. What is it? The life commercial?
The life commercials. Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah. So like I always got egged on as a kid because of that commercial. I would eat paper just to be silly. And, I was a big goofball, man. I'm a big goof. But I like being silly because if I see smiles, I'm happy. Like I kind of like to lighten up a room, be mature, but still be a little goofy, kind of use it in moderation. But sometimes it's too much and, it's okay. It's
all
fun,
right, this is going to be my last question for you. And I saved it to the end because I know some people don't like politics, so I saved it towards the end. But as far as Joe Biden, is he the real president? Did he cheat? And does Trump have a chance of winning in 2024, or is it going to be somebody else completely? Because he's 75 years old. He's going to be pretty damn old in 2024. So what do you think is the state right now? Is Biden really the president? Did he cheat? And does Trump have a chance of winning in 2024?
D, all of the above. Yes. I don't think he even knows Biden doesn't even know that he is president. And I think it's just a big game. And it's just, I think Trump absolutely does. And his new platform that's coming in place, I'm sure that will help be a conduit for him to communicate and not be banned by the media. So, yeah, I don't think Biden, in my heart, for America, no, I don't believe he's our president. But, I don't even think the military does, to be honest. But who knows?
I don't know what's going on. It's just a crazy time right now. I believe there was cheating as well, and I know that we're a Trump cult, we're this, we're that, the other thing. But I mean, Biden, you can't tell me this guy actually won the presidency with the most votes in American history. He got more votes than Trump. He got more votes than Obama. Please, please, please. It did not happen. I do worry that Trump's going to be too old to come the next time around, but I wouldn't mind seeing DeSantis. I wouldn't mind seeing Candace Owens. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Ted Cruz. I did not like Ted Cruz until maybe the last 6 months, where he's really grown on me, where I like a lot of the things he's saying. So who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
2022, the big elections are going to be interesting to see, if the Democrats give up seats or if they, maintain status quo. But I can't imagine how anyone's happy with what's going on with the crisis on the border and all these things that are going on. It's just nuts the way this country's being run right now. But who knows? Maybe I'm an old curmudgeon and I don't know any better. I don't know. Maybe that's what's happening.
Absolutely not. You're on point. You're on point 100%. And people, I think, the other side is starting to see, whoa, did I vote for him? Wow, did I make a mistake? And now they're seeing all the things that are coming into light. And yeah, they're in control. It's the appearance of control right now. But I don't know. I feel Trump is coming back in 2024, but some things have to play out first, I believe, in the arena of the public opinion.
Well, it's funny because my wife voted for Biden, and of course now she says point blank, she's like, "Oh, there's no doubt that he cheated." So she, even being someone that voted for Biden, she completely thinks,
"Come on, man,"
And if you're going to be honest out there, people, come on. I mean, you got to admit something happened.
That soundbite of Biden going, "Come on, man!" I love that, dude. It gets me every time. I'm in love with that soundbite.
I know he's an interesting person when he steps up to the microphone, but it is true. I think he's got a cognitive issue, and I do feel kind of bad when I look at him some days. But I don't know.
Right.
I'd like to know who's really running the country, because I don't think he's capable, and I don't even know if it's Harris. It could be Pelosi. It could be the military.
We know
going on. Who knows?
We know who it is, but why say it, right? We know.
Yeah, it's true. It's not Biden. I can tell you that right now. But
nope.
My friend, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on. I consider you a good friend. I'm glad you came on and spent some time with me today. And, I know that you're on a lot of other shows. And, I know Eric's going to do his little rundown of some of the shows that are out there. And, of course, I haven't been in the Torches show lately, but if you haven't been in there, it's a newer show here. It's an excellent show. Tune in and listen when you can. And if I ever get AirPods again, I did order them. When they come in, I'm going to call into his show and hopefully get on and talk a little bit on that one. But now, Mike, do you have a show? I don't know if I've been in your show. I think I've seen that you have a show.
It's not scheduled. I'll go on sporadically. At times I'll play music, or I've yet to be honest, I'm usually shy. But yeah, I do have a show, and I'm getting ready to launch that. I'm not sure when, but it's not scheduled yet. But it's coming up.
Now, are you going to do maybe a little bit of incorporate some of your ministry into the show, or is it going to be more about helping people? What's going to be the general theme of your show, as you get into maybe doing more of a talk show?
That's what I've been trying to figure out, but it's more of a discerned, I guess, something of where I'm going to just talk about whatever, a general basically. And if someone wants to talk about something or a subject, we'll bring it up and maybe use it as a topic. But Torch has really, really kind of helped me a lot with a lot of how his structure is. And he's just, he's an amazing dude. He's an amazing podcaster. He's real. He doesn't, filter himself. He's just, he speaks from the heart. And I really respect that, man. Big time.
I agree completely with you. Very, very good show. So if you haven't been in there, get in there and listen. I see Jess Duck's comment. I'm going to end with that. And also I'm going to mention Dean Joe's comment. But Jess says, I think the Republicans need to choose someone other than Trump to gain the support of the people who refuse to vote for him. In addition, if that does happen, I'd like to see Pelosi hit the road. I'd like to see some of these others, Mitch McConnell, hit the road. Some of these old-time Maxine Waters, get out. Bring in some new people and hopefully maybe start fresh again with some new people coming in the door. So everybody, thanks for coming in. Eric, why don't you do your thing? And then
one other thing I'll also mention about the Biden presidency, and y'all may have saw it in the chat, that whenever Biden has done a speech, like closing out the speech, you never hear him say, "God bless the United States of America," and every president before him has done that. And I think people really should be questioning, like, why isn't he acknowledging, God as the creator of mankind? Because there's even a soundbite I'm sure you would play sometime about, like, how we're endowed by our creator with certain unalienable rights that, it's like he stumbles and stops himself from saying that. And, and I think that is very scary right there.
No, you're absolutely correct. And that's a good catch. You're right. He does not do that. And I mean, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to remove any semblance of God from the country, and it's scary.
But like, I can close with plugging the podcast friends and thanking those who joined us. Like how like they're trying to cancel the Pledge of Allegiance because they don't like the "one nation under God" phrase. I think we can gladly recite it here if we had to.
Oh, absolutely.
It goes, "I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all."
Justice for all. Amen.
I love that.
Amen, brother.
We should start every show like that with the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, did you see?
Yes.
There was a video of Biden the other day doing the Pledge of Allegiance, and he messed up the words. I mean, damn it, man. You're the president.
Come on,
president.
Man.
He messed up the word exactly. Come on, man.
Because even Ronald Reagan said it best during his time, that if we ever forget that we are one nation under God, we will become a nation gone under.
Absolutely. You're right. And we're
Thank
going
you,
in
Eric.
that direction.
That's what's up.
Yep. We're going.
Yep. Definitely a big thank you to Torch and to Dina Joe, the dude Sean and Jess Duck and Lady Me and Mr. A and Victor and Captain Jimmy and a few other great friends and Bahram Yu. Look forward to having y'all back on again soon. And I hopefully we can work on getting Torch to come on for a Get to Know Your Podcaster interview and also get other names like Ralph and Lingalonga if they're interested, and Chris Unplugged and a few more great names. And later on today on Podbean, be on lookout for Torch to do a show. Be on lookout for Lara and Pink Squirrels. Did you say something podcast? Also be on lookout for the Slightly Serious Show to go live at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And if Trice Talk is doing a live show tonight, they'll follow the Slightly Serious Show unless it's a privately recorded show. And look out for Ralph and Lingalonga shows and Freedom Warrior and the Chit Chat with the Old Man tomorrow. And hopefully you've got a show planned for tomorrow as well, John. And tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, Cummings' Culture has got a great interview. So that's a definitely can't miss.
Cummings is awesome, man. He's been nailing some really good interviews. He's good. He's a really good podcaster.
Uh-huh. And with the weekend coming up, you've got Mysteries of the Paranormal, and you've got the Turfy Show, and you've got Lyrical Laxatives if they're doing a show. The It's Doomsday podcast, and hopefully Captain Jimmy has plans to do an impromptu episode of Pirate Radio podcast, and hopefully Dennis Lee, starting on Sunday, will have new episodes of Trice Talk the Tall Rabbit Hole, coming up. And also look out for Mike Tampa Bay's podcast. And also we hope we can get C-Rock on for a Get to Know Your Podcaster interview. But I look forward to seeing y'all again soon around Podbean. So love you and God bless you. And
I love
right there. Talk to you again soon.
Mike from Tampa Bay. America Unite. I love that. And listen, since I don't have Caitlin on my show very much anymore, I do have her voice on my board. So I'm going to just say this really quickly before I end. Joe Biden.
Ew.
Joe Biden. Oh, come on.
Ew.
And that was a short one. Joe Biden.
Ew.
All right, here we go. So that's my daughter, Caitlin. Ew for the podcast. All right, everybody. Mike, again, thank you very much. Eric, thank you. Thank you, everybody, who came in. Love you all, and I will be back on tomorrow. So I hope to see you all again, and I'll try to pop into some of the other podcasts today. Of course, we get another baseball game tonight. My son Brandon's pitching 3 innings tonight, so a big game tonight. So we'll see what happens. All right, take care, everybody, and here's some rock to kind of close it out. Here we go now. Oh, and I did it right. Boomer success.